In today's video, I'm going to go over volume 2 of What Megan Eats. So what I'm actually doing here is I'm talking you through the meal records that I've included in this PDF here. What does Megan eat? How to eat to get into fitness model shape without doing stupid shit that makes you feel like neglecting your family. Unfortunately, inside this industry, we've got a bunch of fitness models and athletes and generally people who are just in great shape and always have been, and they simply rip off what they're doing and try and deliver it to others. That doesn't work. So I've been really careful to put this together as a guide and not as a plan. Because the thing is if you go out and you eat exactly what Megan ate, you're not going to get the same result, right? So it's important that you don't skip through these pages and you really focus on the message behind the foundations, and setting the stage and having the right mindset before you go in. And it's a very timely topic because at this time of year, chances are with your leftover cash, your spare cash, right now you're being bombarded with what looks to be good deals online, 50% off, 75% off, 99% off, fitness plans, $50 programs, $97 programs. But what you're basically doing is you're giving to paupers. You've got these beggars out there wanting to take your spare cash after Christmas, and they're giving you pittance. They're not really giving you anything in value in return. They're giving you just a simple plan to follow without genuinely wanting to solve your everyday problems. Now, that's enough bashing of the industry and of the people in it. I'm going to really get down to let my expertise shine here, and I want to focus here on month 3. So there were actually 2 other meal records between month 1, which was the first one that you saw here in volume 1, the recorded video before, and month 3. Now on the surface, the main difference between these 2, if I just scroll down, you'll notice that there are only a couple of off meals in this particular meal plan. Now, at the moment, because the data is just so data heavy, it's hard to see where those off meals are. I will make improvements to this PDF as time goes on. So if you retain the link, you'll be able to check that and see if it's updated down the track. But I can tell you straight away that the main thing, the main difference was where in the first month, Megan was eating off the plan about 4 times during that week, away from her goals. She ate away from her goals twice. Okay, and already in that, there was a major change and shift in her body shape. I may even look to include some body, some actual body shots, some progress shots of her through these meal records if I can find them at a later stage. But knowing that she's gone from eating off the plan 4 times to 2, that's in itself a bit of a calorie deficit, and that starts to create some fat loss. Now, when it comes to fat loss, a lot of people get this wrong. What they'll do is will try and cut back all their naughty junk, right? And alongside it, they'll try and portion size or count macros and calories. And in doing so, they kind of get their big amount of energy that they're taking in, right? So imagine that, for the last week, 2 weeks, last month, you've been ingesting a certain amount of calories that maintains the body weight that you have now. And let's say that it's up here, and then all of a sudden you then come down and chop it all off, and you create this gap. What ends up happening is that gap is too large to sustain, right? And inside of that gap, what you get is you get cravings, you get low energy, you get headaches, you get tiredness, you get the hangriness, the crankiness, you get all those poor side effects that are often associated with dieting that don't allow you to actually consistently apply and move forward. The second main change that I want you to notice between these 2 meal records, and it's only subtle, is the amount of protein that she was taking in. Now, this is another unique difference with how I coach and how others coach. What a lot of other coaches will do is they'll get you to shave 10 grams off your chicken breast here, or they'll get you to shave 20 calories here, or they'll get you to reduce the amount of energy that you're taking in, okay? And they'll do it over a period of time. What I actually do is I tend to find that I get better results by actually increasing calories, increasing nutrition, increasing protein. And I'll tell you why in a second, but as you can see just here where I've highlighted it, month one, Megan was having about 120 grams of raw weight beef, obviously not eating it raw, but 120 grams of that beef. And by month three, she was having 140 grams. Okay. So inside of that 12 weeks, she increased her protein by 10% twice. Why? Well, her body was actually telling her to increase it. Now, unless you know the signs for increasing that protein, what tends to happen is you don't ever increase it. So then your gap gets larger, as I was saying before, and you fall into that pit and that cycle of falling off the wagon, jumping back on Monday, falling off the wagon Wednesday, jumping back on Monday, falling off the wagon Tuesday, jumping back on Monday, and then saying that you'll stick to something on Monday and you won't actually stick to it at all. Okay, and in saying that, if you're one who has good amount of willpower and motivation, and you don't fall off the wagon, but you feel as though you aren't getting the results that you should be getting with all of your hard effort, most of the time, what I've found is, especially in women, it's because of a lack of calories and an increased amount of energy expenditure, so workouts, exercise, that causes that stunted fat loss, right? Where you lose 3 or 4 kilos really quickly, but then your body kind of plateaus out and it just stops dead short. And you can see this across gyms across Australia, F45 gyms across Australia, any cardio-based program gym, you'll see a lot of bigger, fitter people, but not necessarily very many lean, strong, fit people. Okay, it's a very rare occasion where you see somebody who can lift a heavy amount of weight in the gym and is very fit and has not very much stomach fat. Okay, and that's like the trifecta. That's the ultimate goal. You want to look as good as you feel. You want to look as good as you function in the gym. You certainly want to make sure that you've got those squares ticked off. Okay, so to wrap this up, month 3, she's increased her protein. She has gotten rid of some of the non-compliant meals. So what you've essentially done there is you've not reduced the amount of calories, but you've replaced the calories. Okay, and that's the key concept that I want you to take away from this video. That is, you should never cut calories, cut macros. What you should do is you should replace them. Because oftentimes what happens is when you're recording what you eat, you miss about 30% of it. And just due to the way that we count calories and the science behind it, it can be anywhere up to 30% incorrect. Okay, and these are the discrepancies that are kind of frustrating, and it stops people from getting the results they want from their exercise and their nutrition efforts. Some other improvements to our nutrition was the inclusion of creatine. Okay, generally I don't recommend creatine to many women just because of the mindset conundrum, where creatine, what that does is it actually draws water to the muscle. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It kind of does get a bad rap, but when you have more water in the muscle's meant to be 70% water anyway. When you have more water in the muscle, it functions better, and your body's able to transfer energy from your muscle into your bloodstream a lot easier. So creatine is a really great supplement to take, just a creatine monohydrate. I rarely recommend it to female clients unless they're kind of like at that stage where they've gotten rid of the tummy fat, and that's when they want to get really, really lean and super tight. Okay. and they want to really work on their strength and improve that. Some other improvements, the multivitamin, probiotic, and the tribulus here. So just some other supplements that she's included. I won't go into heaps of detail with the tribulus. A good multivitamin though is great. You can kind of just ignore the hearsay around these veggie capsules and the fruit capsules and how multivitamins are bad for you and you should get it from natural sources. It's kind of like, I think I had one guy say to me, "Oh, you should take this veggie capsule because it's got like all these vegetables in it." And the question was, well, how did all these veggies fit into this capsule? And the answer he gave me was, when you cremate a body goes from this size to fitting into a jug, doesn't it? And with that analogy he gave me, be it all grim and morbid, I was like, well, yeah, you go and cremate a body, but that body is incinerated and there's no nutritional value, or there's no value at all, and it's just dust, right? So getting back to the whole question of veggie capsules, fruit capsules, albeit a very morbid way of explaining this, it's a load of crap. Okay, it's a load of crap, and I had to learn that the hard way as a young PT. I did learn that lesson. Stick to a good multivitamin. And for women especially, probiotics, oh my God, they're a godsend, okay? I find that females have a weaker gut than men, just in general, but then with pregnancy and with breastfeeding as well, and the nutritional restrictions and limitations that you have to impose on yourself when you go through breastfeeding. Sometimes babies are colic, or they are lactose intolerant. So because your body goes through that process of eliminating things and then reintroducing it, it wrecks the gut flora and the good bacteria in the stomach. So a good 12, 24 months on a good solid probiotic does wonders for the female biome. So there are some great, I suppose, pointers to make. I'll wrap this up. Don't go and cut calories, replace them. From month 1 to month 3, Megan reduced the amount she was eating away from her goals by 2. Okay, so instead of by 50%, so instead of eating away from her goals 4 times, she ate away from her goals twice. She increased the protein by 10% twice. She also increased her low energy plant foods, so her her vegetables and her fruits. She added in some probiotics, multivitamins as well, and this is all done in stages over the course of maybe 12 weeks, where there were 2 to 3 meal records. Each meal record had 1 to 2 changes. That's it, and that's the key to sustainability. It's not changing everything at once. It's changing one thing at a time.